But like Rebecca said, these are a couple of my favorite products that we have at Nu Skin. I have been here for a while, so I've worked on quite a few products, but these are two that, I was the main formulator on, right? And so definitely products that I'm excited about and that I use on a regular basis, if not every day. And so today we are really going to talk about what Rebecca referred to kind of this gut and glow, right? So we're going to talk about our skin health product, Collagen Plus, and then we'll talk about Nu Biome, our gut product. And so we'll start with Collagen Plus. And really, when we started working on this product, it was all about what are the best ingredients that you can provide in a wellness supplement that can help your skin look healthier from the outside. And this is one of those products that has had some serious sticking power. It's our number one top selling product in the US and other markets. It just does really well year after year. And I mean, I think it comes down to people can see a difference when they take this product. They can see their skin be healthier. And we'll talk about the scanner, the prism response. You can actually validate, see that you're absorbing these nutrients. So I just think it's a really, really great product. Not just collagen. We will spend some time today and talk about, what makes our collagen peptides unique, because I think that's a really important differentiator that I actually get asked about quite a bit. Like, why are all collagens equal? No, they're not. And we'll talk about some of the science that helps differentiate our collagen. But then we have a couple of other ingredients that are really important in this formula. We have lutein. So this is a carotenoid, and we included it because lutein, and really all nutrients, right? They go to certain parts of your body, right? So you have a preference in certain tissues in your body, organs for different nutrients. And skin is one of those organs that has preferential um, ability to take up and utilize lutein, this key carotenoid that actually protects your skin from sun or oxidative stress. So it's protecting that collagen, that elastin in your skin. And then we've also included phytoceramides in this product. And unfortunately, one of the main issues that women and men have as we age is you have drier skin. And so phytoceramides is basically helping you retain that moisture in your skin. So to get started, I just want to dig in a little bit to, collagen, right? And why ours is unique. And so collagen is basically broken down in the process to make our unique bioactive collagen peptides. So this really large collagen molecule is broken down into these chains, right, of amino acids. And then it undergoes like this very specific patented enzymatic hydrolysis. Basically means it's just breaking it down. Those long amino acid chains are being broken down into what we call di or tripeptides, which just means that it's basically these units that build protein. So it's two or three amino acids that are linked together. And basically, what those little chunks of those really large collagen molecules do is they serve as signaling molecules. So if you think of proteins that we eat, they're broken down into these amino acids or peptides, they're absorbed and taken up. And of course, amino acids, protein are really important for skin and used to build collagen. But if you think about how much collagen is in our product and how much protein you eat all day, that's probably not the mechanism, right? Yeah, it provides the building blocks. But how these collagen peptides are working is it's like a key and a lock, right? It's basically signaling to your skin cells, your fibroblasts is what they're called. They're basically saying, hey, your skin is breaking down, you need to build it back up, right? And so what these peptides do is that it signals your fibroblasts to then increase the production of collagen and other proteins in your skin, like elastin. And so what this slide is showing is basically you have the orange bar, which is our bioactive collagen peptides, and it's just looking at collagen synthesis in fibroblasts, skin cells. It's like an in vivo, like a cell culture. And it's just comparing it to other collagen peptides, right, that you can buy, or gelatin, or proline, or glycine, these different individual amino acids. And you can see that there truly is something unique about our bioactive collagen peptides. But what's really unique is all the clinical studies that have been done on the collagen peptides themselves at the 2.5 gram dose, which is the amount that we have in Collagen Plus. So this first study was in individuals like 35 to 55 years of age, starting to show some breakdown of the collagen in their skin. And they saw that once they were on the product, they actually saw a 15% increase in skin elasticity. Another study in adults that were just a little bit older, 45 to 65 years of age, they actually saw a significant reduction in wrinkle volume. And the wrinkles were right around your eyes, like the crow lines, right? Which I think we all relate to, that you prefer not to have those if possible. And so you see a significant improvement, and you see a significant reduction at 4 weeks, but you can see it improves even greater at 8 weeks. So what this shows is that you're going to get, I'd say, pretty immediate benefits if you think about taking an ingestible product and you're already seeing significant improvement at 4 weeks, but you can see that it gets even greater over time. And then there's also a study showing an increase in nail growth. And this is a longer study because nutrition really does impact both nails and hair, but it tends to take longer, right, to be impacted and impactful. So you can see that at 12 weeks, even 6 months, you're seeing a significant improvement. And the study in the middle that looked at wrinkle volume, they also did this really cool thing in the study where they basically took, I'll call it a skin biopsy, but they kind of made a blister on the skin, and it allowed them to take a sample where they were actually able to look at, okay, what proteins are being increased or decreased in the skin. And they showed a significant increase, as you can see on the graph, in both the procollagen or collagen and elastin. And so you see that significant increase in those individuals that were taking the collagen peptides at 2.5 grams. And you don't see that with the placebo group. So again, that's showing the mechanism, right? These collagen peptides are having these visual benefits, but we also understand the mechanism. Again, it's turning on, it's turning that lock on, right? It's turning that mechanism on in your skin cells to build the collagen and the elastin. And so we're building that collagen and elastin with the collagen peptides, but then in Collagen Plus, like we've already mentioned, you also have the lutein. And we like to think of this as that skin protector, right? Like I already mentioned, this carotenoid is absorbed, it can get to our skin, and it helps protect our skin from oxidative stress. The biggest oxidative stress impact that we have, right, is just that exposure to the sun. Even if we're trying to protect our skin, that is the biggest oxidative stressor. Also, just blue light that we're exposed to on our computer screens, on the lights that we're exposed to, that can also impact. You also have lutein has been shown to significantly increase hyaluronic acid in cell culture studies, and just overall decrease oxidative stress in the skin. And then it can also, it's a carotenoid, so it can impact that PRISM score. And I'll show some study results in a few minutes. So lutein is really key, right? Because like I've mentioned, you're working so hard to build that collagen with the collagen peptides, then the lutein really is protecting that collagen from oxidative stress that we know breaks down skin as we age. And then we have the phytoceramides, really that hydrator. And basically, studies have shown that as you age, unfortunately, you have less ceramides in your skin. And ceramides are like a waxy material in your skin. It helps hold in that moisture. And so, unfortunately, as we age, we do have less ceramide levels. We have drier skin. And basically, phytoceramides have been shown to help increase skin hydration measurement. It helps you lose less water from your skin. And so it just plays this very important role in skin barrier function and hydration, just to make your skin look healthier and glow better. So we did do a clinical study with this formulation. So with the collagen peptides, the lutein, and the ceramides, it was a double-blind, placebo-controlled study. So that just means that we had individuals taking placebo and we had individuals taking the treatment or collagen plus formula. We had them do that for 4 months. They were 40 to 60 years of age, so we could see some signs of aging. And the most unique thing about this study is that we were actually really interested at the time, and still are, but we were wondering if you do have better nutrition with a wellness product, would you have better outcomes with a topical product like Lumispa? And so we actually had all the subjects, they actually used the Lumispa on half of their face. And like I always say when I talk about this study, we did pay these subjects quite a bit of money to do that. But they used the Lumispa on half of their face for 4 months. And then we had the dermatologist, we had the individuals actually rate each side of their skin, because that allowed us to really see, are they getting the benefit from the supplement? Are you getting a benefit from adding Lumispa on top of that? Even above just, taking a supplement. And so in the study, we did have a dermatologist actually ran the study, so an expert visual grader. And we saw a significant improvement in overall appearance. We saw a significant improvement in texture. And we saw a significant improvement in radiance. And this was just with the Collagen Plus alone. But then we wanted to see, well, what happens when you add that Lumispa, right? So we had, like I said, the subjects use the Lumispa on half of their face. And what we saw was really interesting is that we saw you see a significant improvement with Lumispa alone for overall visual appearance, but you see an even greater benefit when you combine it with Collagen Plus. And same pattern for texture and radiance. So again, just really demonstrating that you get this really great benefit from using Lumispa or collagen alone, right? But an even greater benefit when you can combine the Collagen Plus and Lumispa. It's just really that beauty from within concept is just so important. And so in that clinical study, we also looked at scanner response. And what we saw was a significant improvement in scanner response at 1 month, and then an even greater improvement at 4 months. And so just showing, again, your body is absorbing these nutrients, it's absorbing that lutein in the product, it's getting to the skin, the site of action where it's protecting the collagen. And then we can actually measure, right? You can actually see a significant improvement in those lutein levels in your skin over time by using the Prism device. And so it's a really great pairing with this product is that people can see and feel visual improvements, but then you can actually validate that those nutrients that you're consuming are actually getting to the place where we want them to have their action. And so that is Beauty Focus Collagen Plus. And so now we will pivot and we'll talk about gut health and specifically Nu Biome. So Nu Biome is a product that really is all about helping get that healthy microbiome. And we've actually used a pretty unique approach. We wanted to use both pre and postbiotics along with some other ingredients. And so I just want to touch on the different ingredients. So xylo-oligosaccharides, and that is a very long name, but if you say XOS, that's what most people would refer to. And xylo-oligosaccharides or XOS, this is basically the prebiotic, right? So what prebiotic means is it's actually the fuel for those good bugs in your GI system. So it's basically providing that food for those beneficial bacteria in your gut so that they can grow and thrive and have those overall health benefits that we have with a healthy gut microbiome. So that's a prebiotic. And then we've also included a postbiotic in this product. And a postbiotic is really unique because a postbiotic is basically a heat treated or heat killed probiotic, which is a live bacteria. But a postbiotic is not alive. It doesn't actually colonize in our gut, but it's providing benefit, right? There's good things in these bacteria And in this specific one, he treated BPO1, or we usually just call it BPO1, Bifidobacteria lactis, is a certain strain. It's actually a certain component, and I'm going to get a little technical, but you don't need to remember this, but it's called lipoic acid, LTA, and that is the component that basically all the benefits with this particular postbiotic have been traced back to. So it's just kind of an interesting tidbit that the mechanism of how it works is understood and been looked at. So it's a really unique postbiotic that's been clinically studied. So we have that blend of the that XOS, and then the BPO1, that postbiotic. And then we have other ingredients. So all of our Nu Biome products here in the US also have pomegranate extract. And so this is a really unique ingredient because pomegranate actually has pretty, what I would call large polyphenols or antioxidants. And what's unique about them is that they aren't completely broken down, like in your stomach and your small intestine, but actually they can get into your lower intestine, your large intestine, or your colon, where all those bacteria are. And that's where they can actually be used as energy from those good bacteria. So pomegranate's really unique in that it has been studied and shown to impact those good bacteria, along with just being a really strong antioxidant in our GI system and systemically throughout our entire body. And then we also have caffeine. So in the US, we have two flavors of Nu Biome, which I'm sure you're all very aware of. But we have our watermelon flavor that does have caffeine. It's 50 milligrams of caffeine, so a pretty conservative or low amount. And then we have our, I believe it's called coconut pineapple. I always call it kind of the tropical flavor. That does not have caffeine. And so you have that option, right? If you want the caffeinated version or the non. And so I think that's been a really great addition here in the States. So the key benefits when we launched this product and was the focus on the formulation was supporting the microbiome and intestinal health, supporting that good bacteria, and then of course decreasing the bad bacteria, helping to support healthy digestion, supporting your antioxidant network, helping with regularity if you use it consistently, and just that dual approach, right, with the prebiotic and the postbiotic. And there were studies published in the literature, third party, that could support these claims, right? There's studies, let's say, with the XOS, that prebiotic, that have been shown to increase those good bacteria and decrease some of those bad bacteria. It's been shown to help, again, with regularity if you use it consistently. But the one claim or the one benefit, I guess, that we heard from the field from individuals using the product was that it helped with bloating. And, we were asked time and time again, can we make this an official claim? And scientifically, we could not. We did not have literature on the individual ingredients to improve bloating. So we heard, and we knew leaders wanted to make this claim officially. So we did a clinical study. We did a double-blind, placebo-controlled study, and it was in adults that did have some GI discomfort because, again, we had to use a population that we could move the needle, see some benefits. And again, they had bloating issues. And we basically gave them placebo, and it was basically like a crystal light, right? It didn't really have anything in it. Or we had Nu Biome, and we used the caffeine-free version. And again, it has XOS, the postbiotic, the pomegranate extract, and then chromium. And it was 4 weeks long. So a pretty quick study, actually, if you're looking at digestive health. And specifically, we gave a challenge meal in this study where we actually had subjects at baseline. So they took 1 dose of Nu Biome or placebo, and then they had 2 pieces, I think it was 2 pieces of cheese pizza. I was like, is it 1 or 2? Pretty sure 2 pieces of cheese pizza, because just with the breading and the cheese, that's just a meal that isn't used a lot in bloating studies because it kind of has 2 of the big ingredients that can cause bloating, especially in women. And then they basically measured their waist circumference. And that is what this graph is showing. So you see at baseline, that's kind of their zero, right? That's their baseline waist circumference. And then they had this either placebo, the orange line, or the blue line is the Nu Biome. And so they had the placebo or Nu Biome and they consumed their 2 pieces of cheese pizza. And you can see that after the challenge meal, Nu Biome significantly decreased. And this continued at 2 weeks, 4 weeks. And again, at the end of the study, we repeated the challenge meal. And you can see that there's even further decrease and a reduction of waist circumference. And waist circumference is a good measurement for bloating. And so this is just looking at some of the other parameters that we looked at around this area of bloating. So again, we see a significant reduction at baseline just after that 1 dose of Nu Biome, but you can see it's even further improved at the end. So you see a reduction in 2.5 centimeters at baseline and around 5.5 centimeters at the end of the study. And we actually saw a pretty impressive response rate. And so response rate is just saying people significantly improved. So after just 1 dose, we saw 100% of the Nu Biome, and basically it was 93%, so extremely high at the end of the study as well. And you can see the placebo group really didn't improve, right? There was a very small amount of people that improved. And then when you think of bloating, if you've ever had issues with it, yes, you can say I have bloating or not, but you can actually rate the severity of it. And so you can see that if you look over the course of time, you can move those individuals that have severe to more mild throughout the study. And so just seeing that improvement with Nu Biome where it really just stays the same with placebo, which is what we want. That's why you have a placebo group. And then looking at, how many days do you have symptoms over the past 7 days? And we saw a significant reduction in Nu Biome, almost 2 fewer days. So not only were you seeing less days, but you're also seeing less severity of bloating in those individuals that had bloating issues to start with. And this is just some of the, self-reported questionnaire as well, is that there was a 64% reduction in abdominal discomfort, 55% reduction in abdominal bloating reported. And also looking at how quickly, you saw a result. And I think if you think back to that first line graph that we were looking at, right, we could see that just after 1 dose, people were seeing this improvement in their waist circumference, but people could notice that 75% of subjects said that they felt that improvement in bloating within an hour, whereas there was 0 in the placebo group. So again, that's really impressive that it works so quickly. And so we also, we saw the improvements with the waist circumference and just, the validated questionnaires that were looking at GI discomfort and bloating, but you can see visually, right? This is someone that was on Nu Biome, and you could see compared to baseline to week 4, there's a significant less bloating. And then placebo group, that you really can't see a difference over the course of the 4-week study. So really impressive results with bloating. And, this is one of those studies that honestly, I was kind of nervous going into it. Like I knew we'd heard this in the field, but sometimes you're always just worried, right? When you do this double-blind placebo study, you're like, are you going to be able to pick it up? And we just got those really impressive results. And so they were really exciting. So because of that, we were able to promote these claims officially, right? Just helping support bloating discomfort, helping reduce that severity of bloating, quick and effective ease of bloating. Like we saw, people saw a response within an hour, helping to reduce the days of bloating. And now it's also not just the ingredients are studied, but we've also studied the formula as well in a clinical study. And so really great results that we can talk, in addition to all those other claims that we always were able to talk about, now we can also talk about bloating. And so with Nu Biome, I always like to touch on, how to take it. And, all of you probably have even better ideas, but one of the questions I get asked very commonly with this is, when should I take Nu Biome? And honestly, scientifically, this is one of those products that you can take it any time of the day. It's really more important consistently, right? Because what has been shown in the studies with like prebiotic ingredients, like the XOS and the blend, is that you do need to keep taking it if you want to see those improvements with your microbiome. If you stop taking a product like Nu Biome, your gut microbiome will kind of revert back slowly to where you started, kind of that starting point. And that's just been shown, time after time in clinical studies. So you want to mix either flavor with 8 to honestly 16 ounces of water. And I always like to say, if you like things really sweet, then, use 8 ounces or less. But if you like things that are a little less sweet, do it in a full water bottle, 16 ounces. It's really up to you. Consistency matters more. And this is one of those products that you don't have to take with food, because there aren't any of those fat soluble nutrients in it, right? Additionally, Nu Biome actually tastes really good when you pair it with Collagen Plus, especially the powder. And so these products definitely can also be taken together as well, and they pair really well. Um, I'll just end on, I think most of you guys are aware, but we do have our Nu Skin Product Insider page, which we do try to post pretty frequently on. And it's just helping us get, kind of some of that science out there that we like to share. So that is all that I actually had